We have dogs, cats, horses, we've got some sheep, and we've got a couple of cows, but they won't be going anywhere. We've been down to as low as about 12, which lasted for about a week, up to about 50. Cats, we've had up to 60 plus, if we've got the kittens with them. Horses, we've got about 28 on this site and around about 27 on a different site. Matt came into us a few years ago now, and he's a fabulous gentle giant, and he used to be a logger. He used to work in forestry, pulling logs, and unfortunately he had a leg injury, which meant he couldn't be worked anymore, and we were asked if we could take him. At the time we could, and he's been with us ever since. We get an average of what we call handled animals, animals that come in for whatever reason, and anywhere between 30 and 40, 50 a month. Some of those are claimed back by their owners. They've just got out, escaped, as they do. But in a year, 400 wouldn't be unusual. That's for dogs. And then add cats, probably 500. We've got all these lovely, lovely dogs in here that are desperate for homes, and they deserve it.
Mummy will be gone when you come back. Good boy. Max stood out, I don't know, if just his little eyes and the way he was looking at us in the cage. We had seen him in the top cage when we first visited, and he was jumping, but I thought he was a little bit big. Really what I had in my mind was like a smaller dog. So when we actually went down and we'd had our interview and they said we could select a dog, we didn't expect Max still to be there, and he was. Sit, paw, other paw, two paws. The official story was that he was taken a couple of times and brought back for chewing wallpaper, and I think someone who'd worked who did night, so obviously he was left all night, and I think he got sort of scared. But as we got to know Max, he didn't like the rain, he didn't like going in the car, so we sort of think he was maybe dumped from a car on a rainy day. Until you actually go there, you don't realise how many dogs there are that need homes, and they're just such lovely dogs, and you can just help, you know, one dog or one cat, you know, and it just makes a huge difference. You know, and lots of them are going to be around for a long, long time, and you can just give them a home, and it just makes a difference. It really does.
I think the majority of problems the dogs have is the fact that as much as you try to give them as much attention as you possibly can, you are limited, literally, because the amount of dogs that are here. They just crave some companionship and, just a bit of love, really. That's really, I think, what they suffer from. Exercise is another thing. Obviously, the more exercise they get, the less stressed I think they are in the kennels, because, they've worn themselves out both physically and emotionally, sort of having a good run around. So we rely a lot on the volunteers here that do a lot of exercising of the dogs, which is really good, and that's really important. But I think really just human contact and probably interaction with other dogs, but again, that can't just be done overnight, because obviously you can't just put two dogs together and go, oh, I hope you get on. You need to have some sort of build up to sort of putting two dogs to run free together to make sure that there's not going to be a problem.
They're all lovely. There's always one that's a little bit more special than another one, and that's usually one that's been badly abused, and it's so loving. It doesn't matter, what's happened to it, it just still is trusting. And then we've got the ones that nobody looks at. They just come in and they just walk past that particular dog, and they come in full of hope, these dogs, and they're at the bars and they're barking and they're shouting, and eventually they just don't even bother getting out of bed.
We have a lot of lurchers here. I think a lot of them are bred indiscriminately, like a lot of dogs are bred, and therefore the type of dogs that people are wanting to work aren't necessarily what they breed. They think they're going to get the dog they want, but they don't.
Sometimes the dog's had an injury, so it can't work anymore, so they dump it. they don't want to pay vet bills, get rid of the dog, we'll get another one. And that seems to be the way it is, mainly with lurchers.
Malone is the dearest little dog that you could ever wish to meet, and how he is so sweet is I don't know, because he was left tied to a tree. Absolutely, if you'd seen him lying dead you wouldn't have been surprised. He was that thin. I have never seen a dog, I don't think, quite as thin. It looked like a skeleton with some skin draped over it. But since being here, once he's been fed up, which he is, and he's the correct body weight, he's the dearest little thing ever. And it baffles me how they can be still so loving after how they've been treated at the hands of people. So, but he's a little black and white lurcher, full of beans, full of joys of spring really, and just needs a really good home.
People are realising what lovely pets they make. Lurchers are so gentle. Oh, they're fabulous dogs, and you don't have to run sort of all day long with them. One good stretch exercise in one day is all they need, and then they'll happily just lie by the fire for the rest of the day. People tend to be a bit frightened of them because, oh, they'll kill a cat. Any dog can kill a cat, it's not specific to lurchers. And we've actually got photos of our lurchers that have been adopted lying on the sofas, sharing it with a cat, or cats sitting on their backs, and they're just lovely, lovely dogs. Brilliant with children as well, so gentle-natured. I can recommend lurcher to anybody.
Really, it's just known that dogs, you know, we've had a few dogs that have been here a long while, and they've gone to really good homes, so that makes it sort of feel worthwhile when you know you've got dogs here that have been here months and years in some cases, and eventually someone does come along for them. And so when you know of a dog that's been here a long while and it's got a home, and you know it's a really good home, and you get photos and stuff back like that, so that's really nice to see, because that makes it worthwhile.